The story begins with a young woman named Kim Seo-yeon returning to her old, abandoned family home in the countryside to visit her sick mother. On the way, she loses her mobile phone, and once at the house, is forced to use an old cordless landline phone she finds in the pantry. Soon, strange calls begin coming to this phone from a girl pleading for help, claiming that her own mother is trying to kill her. Kim Seo-yeon initially takes this for a mistake or someone's cruel joke, but soon realizes that something beyond rational explanation is happening. Exploring the house, Kim Seo-yeon discovers a hidden basement she never knew existed. In this basement, she finds a diary belonging to a girl named Oh Young-sook, who lived in this very house exactly 20 years ago in 1999. Comparing the facts, the heroine realizes a terrifying truth. The phone line connects two different time periods. She is talking to Oh Young-sook from the past. A strange, almost mystical friendship develops between them, based on mutual loneliness and family tragedies. Oh Young-sook reveals that her stepmother is a powerful shaman who believes her stepdaughter is possessed by an evil spirit and subjects her to brutal purification rituals. Driven by sympathy and a desire to change her own life, Kim Seo-yeon decides to use this connection to fix the mistakes of the past. She asks Oh Young-sook to prevent an accident, a fire in which Seo-yeon's father died many years ago. In 1999, Oh Young-sook goes to the scene and saves the man. In that same second, Kim Seo-yeon's reality in 2020 changes radically right before her eyes. The abandoned, gloomy house transforms into a luxurious mansion, and her father turns out to be alive and well. This is a moment of triumph, which, however, becomes the beginning of deep psychological destruction. However, every intervention in the flow of time comes with a price. Saving her father made Kim Seo-yeon carefree and happy, but she forgot the danger Oh Young-sook herself was in. In return for saving her father, Kim Seo-yeon warns her friend from the past that on this very day, the shaman's stepmother intends to kill her during another ritual. Armed with this knowledge, Oh Young-sook changes her fate. Instead of becoming a victim, she commits the brutal murder of her stepmother herself. This act of violence awakens a hidden sociopathy in Oh Young-sook, transforming her from a frightened victim into a cold-blooded predator. From this moment on, the phone connection turns into a dangerous game where lives in both timelines are at stake. After the murder, Oh Young-sook feels the taste of freedom and impunity. In 1999, she is no longer a downtrodden girl, but a person who realizes she can change the world around her through violence. She begins to act provocatively, and her sociopathic tendencies, which the shaman's stepmother tried to cure with cruelty, bloom in full. Kim Seo-yeon in 2020 initially doesn't notice these changes, enjoying life with her resurrected father. However, she makes a fatal mistake. Having become happy, she begins to pay less attention to the calls from the past, missing them or answering coldly. For the unstable Oh Young-sook, who sees Seo-yeon as her only link to the world, this becomes a trigger for destructive rage. The conflict escalates when in 1999, a young man named Park Shin-ho, a local strawberry deliverer and family acquaintance, comes to the house. He accidentally witnesses Oh Young-sook's strange behavior and finds evidence of her crime. Enraged that her peace has been disturbed, Oh Young-sook cold-bloodedly kills him. At that same second in 2020, Kim Seo-yeon sees her old acquaintance Park Shin-ho, with whom she was just speaking, literally dissolve into thin air. Everyone's memories of him are erased because he died 20 years ago. Seo-yeon realizes in horror. She has created a monster who now owns her reality. Trying to stop the madness, Kim Seo-yeon begins searching for information about Oh Young-sook's past in police archives and old newspapers. She learns that after the murder of her stepmother, Oh Young-sook was captured and sentenced to life imprisonment after a series of bloody murders. Seo-yeon makes another attempt to manipulate time. She deceives Oh Young-sook, telling her that in the future she will become famous and successful, trying to lull her vigilance. But Oh Young-sook finds a way to verify the information. She forces Seo-yeon to read her the news from the future about her own arrest. When the truth is revealed, the phone connection turns into a channel for threats and psychological terror. Oh Young-sook understands her power. She can kill any person close to Kim Seo-yeon back in 1999, and in 2020 they will simply disappear. To keep Seo-yeon on the hook, she kidnaps a little girl, Kim Seo-yeon herself from the past, who came with her parents to inspect the house for purchase. Now, the adult Seo-yeon in 2020 finds herself a hostage of the telephone. She hears her own self crying in the receiver and realizes that if she does not help the killer avoid arrest in the past, her own existence or the lives of her parents will be cut short at any moment. A deadly race against time begins, where every call could be the last. In 2020, Kim Seo-yeon realizes that the only way to survive is to destroy Oh Young-sook in 1999. She finds information in police reports about a gas explosion that occurred at a local store on the day Oh Young-sook was there. Seo-yeon decides to direct the killer straight into the epicenter of the explosion, hoping it will erase the monster from history. She calls the past and gives Oh Young-sook incorrect instructions, trying to lure her into a trap. However, Oh Young-sook is no longer that frightened girl. Her predator's intuition and suspiciousness help her avoid death. She realizes that her friend from the future tried to kill her, and this finally unties her hands. Oh Young-sook's revenge is instant and ruthless. In 1999, she tracks down Seo-yeon's father, who was a young man then, and brutally kills him in the basement of the house. At that same second in 2020, Kim Seo-yeon's reality trembles again. The luxurious mansion disappears, turning into rotting ruins, and her father, with whom she was just talking on the phone, literally evaporates from her memory and life. Now the house has turned into a torture chamber filled with ghosts of the past, and Oh Young-sook from 1999 enjoys her absolute power, realizing she can reshape Seo-yeon's present as she pleases. The situation reaches a peak of destruction when, in 1999, Seo-yeon's young mother and little Seo-yeon come to the house to find their missing husband. In 2020, adult Seo-yeon hears through the receiver as Oh Young-sook begins hunting her mother in the past. It is a struggle on two fronts. In 1999, the mother tries to escape from the maniac in the labyrinths of the house, while in 2020, adult Seo-yeon runs through those same corridors, seeing marks of struggle, impact holes, and bloodstains left 20 years ago appear instantly on the walls. The climax of this part is the realization that Oh Young-sook in 1999 found a way to live until 2020. She is no longer just a voice in the receiver. She has turned into an old, even more insane version of herself, who all this time was waiting for Kim Seo-yeon to appear in this house. Now the heroine faces the enemy face to face in two dimensions at once. The mother in the past enters a final clash with the young killer, while the adult Seo-yeon tries to survive in a fight with the old Oh Young-sook, who has seized the house in the present. The boundaries of time finally blur, leaving only pure horror and a struggle for existence. In 1999, Seo-yeon's mother shows an incredible will to live. Realizing that her little daughter faces death at the hands of the insane Oh Young-sook, she enters into a fierce struggle with the killer. The battle moves to the second floor of the house. At the same time in 2020, adult Kim Seo-yeon desperately tries to reach her mother in the past to warn her. At the moment of the decisive collision, the mother sacrifices herself. She throws herself at Oh Young-sook, and both women fall from the stairs from a great height. In 2020, reality instantly transforms. The old version of Oh Young-sook, who was haunting the heroine in the present, suddenly vanishes, literally dissolving into thin air because her fate in the past has been altered. Kim Seo-yeon runs to the cemetery and witnesses a miracle. Her mother is alive. She sees a woman walking toward her aged with scars from that very fall, but alive. It seems like a happy ending. Evil is defeated, and the family is saved at the cost of scars and pain. However, Korean thrillers rarely leave their heroes in peace. As Kim Seo-yeon walks through the cemetery with her mother, we see the events of 1999. It turns out that the old Oh Young-sook from the future managed to make one last call to her past self, just minutes before the fall from the stairs. She warned her younger version of what would happen and gave instructions on how to survive. We see Oh Young-sook open her eyes after the fall in 1999. She survived. The final shot of 2020 turns into a waking nightmare. The mother walking beside Seo-yeon suddenly begins to disappear. This means that in the past, Oh Young-sook eventually found her and finished what she started. The heroine is left completely alone in an empty world. We see a locked room in the basement where the adult Kim Seo-yeon sits on a chair, bound and terrified. She has become a prisoner of Oh Young-sook, who has controlled her life for 20 years. The entire happy ending at the cemetery turns out to be just a near-death hallucination or an erased version of reality. The cycle of destruction has closed. The monster did not just survive, she completely consumed the life and future of the heroine. The film The Call, 2020, is not just a technically polished thriller about time loops. It is a monumental study of how trauma and selfishness become catalysts for the total destruction of reality. From the perspective of film psychology, we are witnessing a classic butterfly effect tragedy, where the main character's good intentions lead to the creation of an absolute, uncontrollable evil. At the beginning of the story, Oh Young-sook is presented as a victim, a downtrodden, exhausted girl suffering from the magical abuse of her shaman stepmother. However, her destruction was laid long before the call. The stepmother saw evil in her, and in trying to exorcise it, only packed the rage deep inside. When Kim Seo-yeon gives her the tool for salvation, knowledge of the future, she is not saving an innocent soul. She is removing the safety catch from an already loaded weapon. As soon as Oh Young-sook sheds the first blood, her personality does not just change. It annihilates, leaving in place of a human a cold, calculating killing machine. The main heroine is a classic example of a person stuck in the past due to guilt. Her desire to resurrect her father is an attempt to escape responsibility for her own life. By entering into a dialogue with the past, she commits an act of supreme egocentrism. She reshapes the fates of millions of people, including those who vanished because of her interference, to soothe her personal pain. Her destruction manifests in a loss of connection with the present. She becomes codependent on the telephone set, turning her life into a wait for the call that ultimately destroys her. The landline phone in the film acts not just as a portal, but as a symbol of power. In an era of digital transparency, this old device becomes a psychopathic black box. Whoever owns the information about the past owns the future. We see how Oh Young-sook masterfully uses psychological terror, turning Seo-yeon's hope into her main weakness. This is a clear demonstration of how a manipulator uses your most secret desires to make you their slave. Pay attention to how the color grading and the state of the house change. From the warm, golden tones of a happy present to the rotten, moldy walls after each act of violence in the past. This is a visual representation of what is happening to the characters' psyches. The house is their mind. By the end of the film, it turns into a labyrinth with no exit, where old and new evil merge into one. The most frightening conclusion of the film is that sociopathy is a virus that cannot be defeated by logic or good deeds. Oh Young-sook from the future helps her past self, creating a closed circle of destruction. She learns from her mistakes before she even has time to make them. In this coordinate system, an ordinary person burdened by morality and attachments, like Seo-yeon, will always lose to someone devoid of empathy. The call is a harsh reminder that the past should be left in the past. Any attempt to fix your history without internal processing of trauma will only lead to that trauma taking flesh and coming for you decades later. It is an ideal example of how a destructive personality can consume the entire universe of another person, leaving them screaming into the void of a disconnected phone. With this, our immersion into the cold and ruthless world of the Korean thriller is complete. We have seen that some calls are better left unanswered, and some secrets of the past locked in the basement. Like this video if the ending made you reconsider your views on past mistakes, and tell us in the comments. Which film made you feel the same sense of hopelessness? Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Here we continue to look for the truth in the darkest corners of cinema. See you in the next episode.